Amanda, you did get to catch the film that ended up in third place, Anora.
I did. I love it. That's the one. That's the one. I went in with the most hype. I paid so much money for a secondhand ticket to make sure I was confirmed screening so I didn't miss Megalopolis. Fuck me. But Anora didn't disappoint. I spent 180 Canadian dollars on that ticket, and I don't regret a cent. To be fair, they upped all the premium prices this year, so the tickets automatically were $90 to $95 for those first screenings. So I only played twice as much, but it was worth it.
And it was still
actually
through Ticketmaster?
No, this was, I bought this before. Yeah, it was still through Ticketmaster, but I bought this before it went into the resale stage on Ticketmaster. I bought it. There's like a subreddit called TIFF Tickets. So I was wheeling and dealing over there. Most people were fine. Most people were like, I felt bad. Some people were trying to make a little bit of money. And then one guy definitely realized who I was and was trying to like undervalue the Megalopolis ticket. And I was like, no, I'm going to give you like the solid $100 to fully cover what you paid for the ticket, man. It's all good. So yeah, I paid $100.
Negotiator.
I know, right? He kept dropping
here's
it.
the sales tax.
Yeah, he wanted like 130, and then he kept dropping it, and he's like, honestly, I'd take 85. And I was like, no, stop. Here's money. Thank you. But Anora, $180, full, no regrets. It is so fun.
139 minutes.
It is non-stop, and it doesn't feel it. That's what I mean. It's a nice, and it kind of has two. I know Chase says he likes the first half more. I appreciate both kind of parts of this because it's got the first half where you're building up and it's all fun and exciting. I had no idea what this movie was about when I went into it. I just knew it was getting good reviews at Cannes, and I'm like, I don't need to know anything else. I'm going to go. And it's so good, and it does this really like fun, genuine, chaotic thing where when people are having conversations and they're mad at each other, you're going to start yelling over one another. Like people don't pause and wait for someone to finish a long drawn out thought. So they're immediately coming in at each other and talking over each other. And like if there's two people you're trying to talk to, like she'll be talking to one of them and some other dude's trying to talk to the guy on the other side. And it feels very authentic and chaotic. And it's a little bit in a really good way. But then on top of that, like some of the people are speaking Russian. But it felt so natural. Like it wasn't distracting to be like looking at the Russian subtitles and hearing English. It really flows well in a way that isn't distracting, even though there's so much language. Kind of, I almost feel like maybe it's better that some of the yelling is in Russian and then some of it's in English. It's really fun because I don't know how long it takes for some of them to realize that she speaks Russian, so she's just going back. It's so fun. That's my best movie of the festival. Yeah.
Sean Baker is a filmmaker that I particularly love. I mean, from Tangerine and Red Rocket and Starlit. And, the Florida Project is the one that I always slips my mind. Just a filmmaker that has, I feel like, gotten increasing renown as kind of been able to like expand his reach a little bit more. And it feels like this is kind of a culminating moment for him, that this is kind of things coming together in a way where the Hollywood establishment is maybe, really opening up their praise for him. It feels like this could be a big player in the Oscars. Just compared to other Sean Baker films, where does Anora stand to you? Is this your new favorite from him? Is it similar to any of the other films he's worked on?
I think so. I think it's my favorite. I'd probably have to rewatch a couple, but for me so far, it was such a standout. Like for me, it was an instant 4.5. And maybe, down, for me at least, down the line, you never know. I'll watch it again. Maybe it'll go down to a 4. Maybe it'll stay where it is. Or maybe it'll go to a 5 because it's really tight. And it's just really the way he's playing with like sexuality and sex in this character in a way that is so easy to overdo or just be used in ways that isn't effective. With this, it does really feel like it's used very effectively in a way for her to kind of like maintain control over situations, and then that makes way for more vulnerable moments down the line that are like so effective in a way that like you don't usually see with male directors. Like, not to be rude, but usually you get that a little bit more with like female directors that kind of get that perspective a little bit more. So it's interesting to see him go from something like Red Rocket into this and it be so kind of very effective and how they did it. So yeah, big fan of it. Big fan of this one.
Where do you have the girl, Mikey Madison?
Yeah, a lot of people have her as a front runner for Best Actress.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah. She really commits. Like, she's got the full, like, screw you, I'm not a whore, like full accent going, and it's all like, you tell him we're in love, and it's just like really committed, but it like sounds good, like it works. Yeah, no, she's really good, and it's nonstop. Like she's in every shot of the movie, and she's almost always saying something. So it was a lot for her, and she does a really, really good job. Like I've never disliked her. You know, she always stands out in what she's in, but she hasn't really been in anything I've seen, at least to like a great enough degree to really say like I really like this actress. You know, and this is, I'm like, okay, she can do a lot. She has range. And she was like very soft-spoken in the Q&A afterwards. So I'm like, so it almost feels like she is working really hard to like get that persona up on screen. I'm sure, you know, in a Q&A, it's a little bit different than when she's hanging out with friends and stuff. But like, you know, we've gone to Q&As and sometimes people talk and it's like, you're exactly the way you are in everything. This felt like, oh, you're putting in a lot of work here.
Totally.
It's really good.
I'm excited. I know Anora is slated to come out in October. Hopefully it gets a wide release for everybody because
I hope.
This is Neon, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Neon snatched it.
All right. So
the Kings.
That's going to be one that's on the horizon right there. I am extremely excited for it. Sounds good.
It's also worth noting that this is only the second time that a Palme d'Or winner has placed at the TIFF's People's Choice Award. And the first time that happened, it was Parasite. Which obviously went on to win Best Picture. So that might be a good sign for Anora's potential Oscar chances as well. I have my screening of that a week from today. I cannot wait.
Nice.
Hell yeah. My number one was Anora. This was another one that I didn't know anything about it going into the screening. I knew that it got great reviews out of Cannes, and that's all I needed to know. I had no idea what the plot was. So when they were kind of doing the intro, and I was like, oh, that's what it's about? And it just blew me away. It's this very, I don't even know. I feel like we should maybe do the premise a little bit. I guess loose premise doesn't really. It's basically she works at a strip club, and a young Russian boy comes in with a lot of money to spend, who takes a liking to her because she speaks Russian and understands it, and is basically like, be my girlfriend for a little bit. I'm going to pay you money to come hang out with me and do other things with me outside of work. And she's just having fun. And there's just this like, kind of like Saturday Night, there's just this energy to the whole movie, but like especially that first half has this like great, fun, atmospheric energy. And you're just kind of waiting for like, okay, well, where's it going to go? How are we going to get there? Because it eventually kind of hits the point where he's probably not supposed to be doing a lot of the things that he's doing. And because he's so rich, it's because his father is a very respected person, and his mother takes that the matriarch position of maintaining that image very seriously. So it just turns into this chaotic mess of all these people that live in America that are kind of supposed to be his handlers, trying to get control of the situation. And it just never stops. I think one of my favorite things about the movie that I've talked with other people is that you'll have conversations crisscrossing, people talking over each other. It feels so realistic because if you're fighting, you're not waiting for someone to finish their thought before you cut in. If you disagree with something, you are coming in hard being like, no, fuck you. And like there's scenes where like one person's yelling at this person behind a counter, and then they switch. And some of it's in Russian, some of it's in English, but it flows really well. Like that almost sounds confusing, but it really was not difficult to follow the subtitles and the English language kind of going back and forth in a kinetic way. I was just really, really enamored with this. And it ends with like such a good emotional gut punch. Like she goes through a very sincere and interesting character arc in a way that, you know, you don't usually see from, you know, male writers and directors necessarily, like not to like throw that out there, but it's interesting to me that Sean Baker was able to write this character. No shade. I don't think anybody's more or less qualified, but you know, the movies we're seeing that are dealing with just how women use different things for power or lack power have been really strong this year from female creators. And this is kind of, in my opinion, like an outlier from someone who's not necessarily done this side of it. But I find sometimes some movies use sex too much, but everything in this movie feels like it works and needs to happen. And it flows well. Like none of it felt awkward. None of it felt like they were just putting it in there to get, you know, half naked shots of Mikey Madison or anything. Everything felt like it had intention and purpose and was required so that you could get to that point in the end and have that like final scene hit as hard as it does. I think, So Chase, what did you think? I know you liked the first half more than the second, but
yeah, I again, keeping it as spoiler-free as possible, the first half of Anora, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is definitely my favorite movie of the year. It's you mentioned the energy of Saturday Night, but I think almost, even though Saturday Night has energy, almost does a disservice to Anora.
I know, because it's
the
so
energy
much.
of Anora is
it's so much.
there.
You just got to imagine it's this like rich gamer kid with a bunch of money, ADHD brain, just being like, any thought, we're gonna do it. Any
I've
thought.
heard it's like Pretty Woman until it becomes Uncut Gems.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. A little bit. It's definitely easier to watch than Uncut Gems, and I like it more than Uncut Gems. I feel like you're not as frustrated with, like, you're never frustrated with Anora in the way that, or Annie, the way you are with Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. Like, most of Uncut Gems is just being like, why? And this is more like, oh, that sucks. Oh,
well, you say that she's like a really three-dimensional character, and I feel like that's a thing that Sean Baker has done really well, is particularly when you talk about these stories involving sex workers. It's like he has this real fascination for exploring them beyond just the surface level of their jobs or of what you would expect from these kinds of characters. They always end up being really vivid, full depictions of these people, and it's really exciting to hear that Mikey Madison gets this part and apparently is like really incredible in it.
I think she's
good.
the best performance of the year.
It's up there. It's up there. Like, we're talking about accent work. I get that it's a little bit different when it's something that's in America, but she's like really nailing that like hostile, like, no, fuck you,
New Yorker,
fuck you.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's no, it was really, really good. I hoped I was gonna like it, but it was one of the ones that for me, like, it matched the hype going into the movie, which is always nice. Because I think everyone's, and tough, because a lot of the times things, you get a little bit swept up in certain things, and then you're like, oh, it was a little disappointing. This, like, it delivered. It delivered.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think Sean Baker, for me, at first I wasn't super into him. Like, I didn't get the Florida Project at first, the first viewing, and then I end up moving 5 minutes away from the real Florida Project, and I live out here. I rewatched the movie, and I definitely gained more appreciative for how he shoots a movie, how he casts like people that feel like real people. Even if you see Willem Dafoe, like, he doesn't necessarily feel like Willem Dafoe.
Right.
I think Anora is his best movie. I really do. The more I sit on it, my initial reaction, I walked out, was like, very good, tiny disappointed by the second half. But it's like, if the first half is a 10, the second half is probably like a 7.5 or an 8. Like, it's still a great movie. You know what I mean? There's just certain people in the first half that I missed in the second half, and there's certain people in the second half that are still really good. But I just feel like there are a lot of characters that come in and out, and they're all great for different reasons. But Sean Baker said he got the inspiration of the movie for the second half of the movie. So maybe on a second viewing, I like the second half even more.
I like it a lot. There's a lot of good dynamic with the goons that are more than goons. Like, Igor is one of the best characters of the year, I think, too. I don't know. It's fun. Like, when Buddy, I don't know. There's just so many good moments. It's just, I don't know. I like it a lot. It's really good, and it never goes in the direction, because, like, it's a bunch of Russian people, so you're kind of like, oh God, is it just going to go like Russian mobsters with guns? And it's like, no, it never gets there. It feels so interesting that they're just kind of like, okay, what do you want us to do though? Like, legally, what do you want us to do in this situation? And that makes for a very fun section of a movie, which is apparently, it's like, there's like one scene in this movie that feels so fast, but apparently it's 28 minutes long.
I couldn't believe that when they said that. I was like, that was 28 minutes? Holy shit, it's crazy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So Chase said it's his favorite Sean Baker movie. Amanda, I think you also told me that that's probably your favorite Sean Baker movie now.
I would say.
Do we know what Michael thinks? Sean Baker's buddy?
I think Michael still liked Red Rocket more.
He definitely likes Red Rocket more, but he was pretty high on Anora. I think there was a couple movies he liked more than Anora at
interesting.
TIFF, but
I know he
it
was really hyped
definitely his
coming out
top
of the
3,
screening.
top 4. Yeah,
he was hyped out of the screening.
And I will say, I feel like, in a way, even though there's a ton of sex in it, I feel like this is Sean Baker's most accessible movie. Like, I don't think everyone would instantly connect with the Florida Project or even Red Rocket. But even though Red Rocket and Anora don't have exactly the same subject matter, but they got 2 sex-related workers, like, I feel like Anora is his most accessible movie. It's his funniest movie.
Yeah, so funny.
I think you could argue it's his most emotional movie, and I think
that's what I'm saying. It does everything.
It's a banger of a movie that I can't wait to watch
I
again. I think
know.
I'm gonna like it more on the second watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
I didn't stress it enough, but it is so funny. Like that screening, it was like almost nonstop laughter the entire time. Like it was up there. It was really up there. Like very, very, very funny.
Nice. I'm so looking forward to my screening of Anora. I catch it on the 23rd. I've only got a couple more days to wait.
Sweet.
But
yeah.
you guys got me really hyped for it.